everyone, and happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week and halfway through the month. This is so exciting. It's gonna be beautiful here in Central Virginia with all the weather coming, the 80-degree weather, and I want to thank Jen and Lauren for asking me to be on. I'm so honored and privileged to be around just so many of the Farmville and business owners and college staff. It's just amazing. And Jen is probably one of the first ones I met when we opened up shop in Farmville, and just it's just that small town feel of just how amazing we all can be when we all link arms together and help each other. But so my story is just one of those kinds of, oh my goodness, so she just kept kind of going kind of moment. And I always love to share it because you just never know where people come from. My corporate job a long time ago was in substance abuse. So I spent 15 years working as the administrator for a substance abuse facility. We had one little location in Carytown, and we grew to oh my gosh, worldwide within 15 years. So I got to be part of that. And I think, that was my first job out of school, and I loved what I did. I still miss a lot of it. And I think that's where I kind of understood I have a little bit of an entrepreneur bug, because I helped another man build his dream business. And through it, you just kind of learn everything and you get to be part of something really big. And I actually come from a family of entrepreneurs, never really understood what that meant until I got through working with the doc and setting his goal up, and what he wanted to do and set up detox facilities around the country and just serve and do what we needed to do. But in the meantime, I always have loved beauty. I love makeup. I love hair stuff. Always have since I was a little girl. For those women on here, if you remember back in the day when we had our little Barbie dolls and our little baby dolls, we cut their hair and put makeup on them, and never knew that would probably be a career and lead me to where I am right now. But anyway, I woke up on a Thanksgiving, like 2 days before Thanksgiving in 2007. And I just didn't I didn't want to work anymore where I was working, even though I loved what I did. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this for the next 50 years. And I literally told my boss after 15 years, I gotta go. And so I had my box all packed up with all my office stuff, my pictures of my family. And he's like, what? I said, I don't know. I just have to go. I got to go do this thing. I don't know what it's going to be, but I got to do this thing. And I remember it was not a very pleasant goodbye. I did not give a 2-week notice, which is horrible, but I knew it was going to be a hostile environment because I was his big money maker and I needed to go. And he's like, you're going to fail at this. And I remember he was kind of like a dad figure to me. And I was mortified when he said, I'm going to fail. He goes, like, you're going to be crawling back to me looking for a job. I'm not going to hire you because you're leaving the way you are. And I'm just like, oh God. So I wanted to jump into makeup and, didn't know what I wanted to do. And then 2008 rolled around a couple months later. We all remember that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I just left this 6-figure job with my whole all profit sharing and stuff to build my own business. And then the whole world just collapsed. And my husband, I remember he said, you know what, listen, it's going to be okay. You just build your dream. We're going to figure out how you're going to fund it. And we're going to be okay. We just all will cut back and we'll be okay. So it led me to building on my makeup and hair business, started in the wedding industry. And that's what I did. And then one day someone introduced me to a woman named Ryan. And she was coming up with this concept of having Richmond's first mobile spray tanning business. I'm like, I don't even know what a spray tan is. What is a spray tan? We're not Hollywood. We're not Miami. We're not New York. So Virginia, Richmond is a little far behind the times a little bit when it comes to beauty services. And she's like, oh, let me show you. I'm going to give you your first spray tan. So I'm like, oh, okay, this will be kind of cool. So I got my first spray tan, and it was done in her house in a little tent. I'm like, this is the coolest thing in the whole wide world. And so then she kind of had this concept of what she wanted to build this business like. It was called Island Glow. And then one of my daughters started working for her, and then got real busy, would go around to everyone's homes and spray tan them at night. Then Chelsea went off to college. And when she went off to college, she's like, Mom, I got to teach you how to spray tan because you got to take care of my customers when I'm gone. So I have money when I'm coming back. And I'm like, I do not have time to be doing all this, but okay, whatever. And so then I started learning to spray tan, and I was building the business. And I remember I was building it faster than the owner. And I was so angry after 6 months. I'm like, okay, either you need to buy me in and let me be a co-owner or pay me more money because I'm building this business way faster than you. I don't even see you doing anything. And she's like, well, it's interesting that you say that. She's like, so I don't have time to build a business because it was only 6 months old. And I remember she said, I have a full-time job. I have a family. Didn't know it was going to take all this time. What if I was to sell it to you in Chelsea because you've been the ones building it? And I'm like, what? Buy a business? I don't know anything about buying a business. And she's like, well, I have other buyers, but I'm going to offer it to you first. If you give me $100, I'll give you the rights to everything that I've done so far. I'm like, $100 to buy a business. Here's $100. So I had no clue what I was going to do. Didn't have any mentors because this is not something that was like popular here. And so I bought a business and I looked for mentors. I remember I called the West Coast, like out in Hollywood, looking for people that established businesses that already did what we did. So I could ask them questions, learn how to get training, just da, da, da. And I got hung up on so many times. I had never experienced the beauty world so savage before, and people just hated to talk to me. I remember one lady, I'm like, why do you hang up on me? I'm just asking questions. She's like, because you're competition. I'm like, I'm on the East Coast in Richmond, Virginia. How could I be competition to someone in LA? She said, because you are, and we're not going to tell you. And I remember I was left by myself, didn't know what to do. So anyway, fast forward a couple more months, I started figuring it out. And then next thing you know, my biggest client that launched my business was the Redskins cheerleaders. I don't even know how they found out about us. They hired us for 2 years, and I would travel up to FedEx Field for 2 years straight, spray tanning the Redskins cheerleaders. That was like the coolest way how to learn how to do what I was doing. And then through that network, I was hired by the Carolina Topcat cheerleaders, the Panthers. And it was the year they went to the Super Bowl is when we got to go to the Super Bowl with them. So our NFL cheerleaders launched our career. Now, through that, I hated the spray tan formulas that were out there. And if you've ever had a spray tan, I won't get into all of it because the guys are probably like, I don't even know what the spray on tan is. That's what men call it, spray on tan, like, paint, like how they spray a car. So anyway, through that, all the trips, I remember my husband would drive me to FedEx because when we would go up to spray tan the cheerleaders, we'd start at 11 o'clock at night and wouldn't finish till 2 or 3 in the morning. And then we drive back to Richmond, go to our jobs. And this is what we did. It was just tiresome, but I knew I was building something. And even though I wasn't in Richmond, I knew it was a notch on my belt. I could say that I spray tanned the cheerleaders. And so through that, I would make up, I made this list of if I could ever develop my own spray tan formula that was all mine, everything I thought was perfect for a woman to experience something great that wasn't already out there because it just stunk what was out there. Could I do this? And I've been thinking before this Zoom meeting, I'm like, I don't even know how this happened, but all of a sudden I met a chemist, and a chemist took my wish list and started creating our own spray tan formulas. And I think all these are God, like God winks, like God puts people together, because I seriously can't remember how I found this person. I think the Redskins was all a God wink too. They found us to help us get started. So, it's like one of those things that people see things in you that you can't see. You're just trying to do the work and figure out where this is going. So we launched our own spray tan formulas because I didn't want anyone in town to be any competition. Like, there are going to be other places, but they don't have my secret formula. And it's all plant-based. It's all paraben-free, gluten-free, sulfate-free. It's got anti-aging stuff in it. It doesn't smell. It's not tacky. It's just natural. It's something that you won't get in a big box store. And so then my mobile tans launched off. So I was running around town doing spray tans. Then all of a sudden, I'm from Powhatan. I got so busy, I had to have a little corporate office to send my stuff to. So we opened our first little place in Powhatan. And so people started coming to our little first salon. And then I remember a couple years into that, there was a group of women, about 10 of them, coming from Buckingham County. They would come down every Thursday night to get a spray tan. So they would drive an hour down to get a spray tan. A spray tan only takes 10 minutes. And they would all drive an hour back. And they did this for a few months. And I remember they said, If you would put a place closer to us, we would love that. We would send all of our friends to you. And I'm like, well, what would that be? They're like somewhere in Farmville. And I'm like, and I was joking, like, yeah, well, find me a place and sure, I'll open up another spot. Do you not know? 2 weeks later, they're like, we have a spot for you. You need to come to Farmville. And I'm like, I wasn't serious. Like, that means I have to have real staff. I have to have real product stocking it. Are y'all losing me? Okay. And I'm like, then I have to run a real business. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of responsibility. But you know what? I just did it. I went up there, saw the spot right on Main Street, signed a lease right there. No, actually, I told the landlord, I called him and I'm like, if I like, will you leave the key? And I'll come look at it. He's like, well, there's 3 or 4 other businesses that want it, like attorneys or this or that. And I said, if I come up there Sunday and I look at it and I just leave cash in the floor as my first month's rent, will you just let me sign a lease? He's like, sure, I don't care. So that's what we did. We're getting ready to celebrate 5 years in Farmville. And so we became Farmville's first ever Sunless tanning salon, and then it developed into a beauty salon where we offered brows and lashes and cosmetic teeth whitening, because there's nothing like that in that area. You'd have to go to Lynchburg, all the way into Richmond, maybe even like probably Midlothian area for something like that. So I wanted to bring a service that Farmville didn't have. And then in the middle of COVID, a customer called and said she found us a place down in the Midlothian area, in the Woodlake area. Would we sign a lease? And so I went ahead and signed the lease because it just felt right. So here we are. It's getting ready to celebrate 13 years in August, and we are still mobile. Have 3 amazing salons and a national brand that's all over the country. And because we also offer our own self-tanning line. And just, if all of you are prayerful people, I'd say pray for us. We have a meeting on Friday with a big national retail store to start carrying our product. And that would be a career highlight too. And but anyway, so, why I've loved Farmville is I love small town feels. I really do. I love the college life. Ever since we came, we decided that we would partner up with Longwood. We would hire college students to run our work in our salon. And I think some of the biggest things that I have taken away from that is they bring so much energy and such a different angle into our shop. I feel like I'm giving young girls, because it's mostly the females. I mean, we'll hire males, but it's always the females that love to come do what we do. But they come with not a lot of a job experience. So we get to teach them these skills. We get to teach them all kinds of stuff. And I love that they come in about freshman or sophomore year and they actually stay with us for a few years all the way through graduation. I do get kind of sad this time of year because I feel like I've raised some little kids, some girls, and then they grow up and they go away to their corporate jobs. But what we get to impart into them is amazing. And there's life skills and job skills they can take into their next, venture into life. And I feel like we give back to the community and they give to us in such big ways. And I love it. Like, Farmville is such an amazing place. And I'm so grateful that God brought us there, because I just think we do a lot of good. We are getting ready. We have expanded to some spa services at Farmville. So it's time to do that in our Farmville salon. And apparently we'll announce next month more, but I think we're now the only tanning salon in town. So we actually are gonna drop the word sunless, because we're not just sunless anymore. We are getting one of America's very first only hybrid tanning and skincare tower. So it's a little bit of a UV suntan and red light therapy, full body. It is one of the most amazing products. I didn't think I'd ever have a machine like that. But when I hear that it's a skin conditioning, anti-aging with a little bit of UV, I'm like, okay, that kind of falls into our little funnel of what we're about. And so that will be Farmville's first only. So we're tanning, spa, and now beauty. And it's been fun to grow over the last 5 years. I think the only thing we need now is a bigger space. So we're looking for more space because we outgrown our little corner on Main Street, but that's a good problem to have. And I will say this, and I know we got to open it for questions. I couldn't have done any of this if it wasn't the help of, Jen and the downtown Farmville Main Street. and just Farmville. When we had to shut down for COVID, you know, they were so Farmville and just this whole network and the chamber was so instrumental getting out information on grants. We took advantage of them. I had to lay no staff off. You know, we had to shut down for 8 weeks. So my college kids, they're used to like, okay, we're not working, we're not getting paid. But with the grant money that we received to keep our doors open and make it through it, I gave them a big old paycheck for all their back pay, which was so amazing. And so that's what I love about Farmville, just locking arms together, helping each other out with all these little unique businesses that come through. And that's my story. So where are we going now? You know what? I really don't have a plan. We just keep doing what we're doing and we walk through doors that God opens. You know, we do have our sight set on a number 4 and number 5 location at some point, but we're going to sit on that for a couple years until we can watch the economy, figure it out. But right now, all of our efforts are going into Farmville to open up our spa side and our UV red light. So that's where we're at right now. So is there anything that I need to add, or I'd love to answer questions?
I don't have a question, but just the comment. Michelle, I love your energy. I'm having sort of a bumpy Wednesday, but you have really inspired me and enthused me. So just your story is amazing. So just congratulations and keep going.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm curious about your product development. You said that you met chemists, but what advice would you give to others who are maybe in our region who you also kind of had the benefit of the Richmond network, right? So a lot of our folks are really living in the southern and south central Virginia region. What kind of tips would you give someone who maybe has a product idea?
Oh my goodness. So, you know, I mean, it's so interesting how products are developing and all those like go-to words and the good stuff that goes in them. And I know that through me, you know, like with our chemist and my manufacturer, I'm really proud that all of our products are made right in America. So our manufacturing plant is in Florida. And so that makes me proud because I love to just support our own country where I don't have to, you know, import anything. But, you know, I think, you know, now since the world's going to more clean products, chemical free, you know, we did get 5 years ago the stamp of approval from PETA that all of our products are now no animal cruelty. So I think you're looking for things like that because with the next shift of, you know, the generations coming, they're looking for all those nice, clean, safe products, safe for the environment. You know, I have a little bit of retail background and a lot of skincare background. I was once in Mary Kay. I was one of those girls that drove a pink Cadillac. So that means that I had access to learn all about makeup and how you make skincare and everything that goes in it. And I think that if I look back, I never knew that was going to help me make my own products one day and get to pick and choose what products go into what I'm giving customers and how we can just, you know, accommodate that. But, you know, now, you know, I'm taking it to a bigger scale. I have found that every year I plan to take my business to another level. And with that, I think you need a different mentor, you need a different coach, because that person's going to take you to the next level. I've never kept the same mentor all these years because everyone's going to be a piece of the journey to the next step. So this next one, I'm meeting with my mentor Friday and we're making our sales pitch to one of the biggest stores ever in the country. I mean, I don't know if I have a shot at it, but you know what? I have an interview with them and he's going to coach me on how to get one of our products into the hands of 1 million trillion people. So I think my advice is, no, just don't settle, just go big and find those mentors out there, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or networks like this, ask around so they can take you to that next level. Cause you're never going to get there if you don't try it. You know, someone told me that just like swinging a bat, you're never going to hit the ball if you don't swing. You know, you have a 0% chance of never making it if you don't try, but you have a 50% chance if you do try. So I just keep going, you know, we'll just see where it takes us.
Does anyone
Michelle?
else? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question, please. Michelle, you mentioned this meeting on Friday a couple of times with a big retailer, and you also mentioned your manufacturer in Florida. Is the manufacturer part of that meeting, or at least is aware, and can you scale your production, or can the manufacturer scale the production to meet whatever the needs are of this retailer?
That's a good question. I did talk to my manufacturer yesterday. I'm like, okay, listen, I'm going to meet with, this X company on Friday. And they're like, what? So they are prepared to scale it that big. So they know, and they are not part of it. Like, they did not connect me to it. I just was shopping in one of these stores last week, and I was looking at some products similar to mine. I'm like, their packaging sucks. Their packages isn't wow. Like, why can't I be on the shelf? And so I started Googling where I'm supposed to go. And there you go. Sometimes Google just points you in the right direction. And I just called and made an appointment, and I filled out some paperwork, and they're excited to meet with me. And apparently in 28 days, I'll have my a decision whether if this is our time or not. And maybe it's not the right time, maybe it is, but I'm going to learn a lot through this first meeting. But I mean, I know I thought about that too, right? Like, oh my gosh, what if they say yes? Oh my gosh, am I prepared? But my manufacturer is prepared. So I've got a good team behind me, because this is a win for them too, because yeah, that would be great. So anyway, we're hoping.
Will you keep us updated on that?
I will. And, and that might lead on to, I have now, since you put your name in the pool, other retail stores are now coming after us. But see, what I've learned is the first one you contact wants to have the exclusive rights to it. So I can't put it out there to anyone else yet, just in case this one says yes. So I'm just praying. And I think if God says this is the door that we're going to open, then I guess he'll provide the rest, That's how I kind of run my life, I think.
One last question from Beth Ann in the chat. She says, thank you for sharing. Starting and running a business can be heavy, and you've mentioned family. How do you manage work-life balance and keep burnout at bay?
Wonderful question. So I learned a long time ago, work-life balance is the only key to success. Now, my children, they're twins, they're grown and gone. They're 28, they're grown and gone. But I'll tell you what, my staff, and I have now a staff of 15, so it's the biggest staff I've ever had amongst all salons, with probably 90% being college students. They know that I preach work-life balance. And I believe that you work hard, but you should also play hard. You time off. I know with the college kids, well, I feel bad for a few of them. I think this is the first batch I've had that's stressing out right now over the exams coming up. And I listen to them, to their chitter chatter, and I pick up on when they're saying, I want to go home. I'm just ready to go home. I cut back their hours. We pitch in. We all shuffle around to all salons. We just make it work. I hardly say no for time off. I think time off is important. All of our salons are closed on Sundays, and we're closed on Mondays, because I believe you should not work on Sunday, and Mondays you just regroup. So I'm a big stickler in that. And my time management is pretty anal at the wall. Everything in my life is planned so that I have that time. And I do pass those traits on to the college staff, because I too want them to know that you should actually work hard for everything, but also block in that personal private time, because it's the only way you're going to make it. And all of y'all as entrepreneurs know that's the only way you're going to do it, or you will burn out. But right now we're still going, I just feel blessed. We're still open. We made it through COVID. Business is booming. This is our peak season. So it's rocking and rolling. And I'm grateful. So hope that helps a little bit.
Michelle, I just love your energy and your faith. And I love how you, from one experience to the next experience, you made it work for your experience. That's wonderful. That's very powerful. And I like how you work with the college kids too, because when you're in college, you need that type of help. With my business, I did the same thing. Kind of put me in mind of me. I started with rehab, which is powerful because you're helping people. And so I think you took that started you, and you went with all the other things. And the mentor is the most important things, because somebody find someone that does what you want to do, and pick it back on that. And I love it. You got your stuff together, girl.
Oh, it's been a work in progress, that's for sure, because, I didn't have mentors to learn this, but I figured let me mentor someone else because that's what you should do. And I remember about a month ago, we hired a college girl and it was so fun. I got to tell you this quick story. And I was working with her on a Saturday. She was in our Wood Lake location and I was on the phone with the customer and she started mopping everything down. And I was looking at the floors and I told the customer, hang on a second. I'm like, girl, what you mopping with? She said, Dawn liquid soap. I said, what? I said, did your mama ever teach you to mop? She's like, I've never picked up a mop in my whole life. So I'm like, bro, that's Palm Sol Saturday. So my point is this next generation is coming up with or without a skill set. And to us, we've got to teach them some of these things. So it was just interesting. Like, it's not the same like it was 10 years ago. It wasn't the same 5 years ago. But the poor girl, she's like, I'm mopping with Dawn liquid soap. I'm like, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. So it's just the little things. But, I think that when you have an opportunity to give someone else experience in life, teach them life skills, I'm pretty tough on the girls. I am not the pushover. I am not. I am the boss and I shouldn't be the pushover, and I hold them accountable. And, some of them had to have a few write-ups recently. And as soon as we wrote them up, you thought it was the end of the world, but good Lord, they did a 180 and we were shocked that they just aced their evaluations and all got raises. So they just need a little bit of kick in the butt a little bit. Yeah. And, but you know what? These are going to be nurses from Longwood. These are going to be school teachers. They're going to learn, they're going to take something from us and they're going to move on. I know some people laugh that you're working in a tanning salon. What you going to learn there? There's a lot. There is a lot. It's just life skills. It's work skills. So don't count us out just because we're in the beauty industry, but they're learning a lot. And I'm grateful for that and grateful for Longwood sending us, some interns so we can impart in them. So yeah, so it's been fun. It's been a great journey.